And I think we're live. We're live. Yep, sure sounds like it. Yep, sure sounds like it. Is the music coming through though? I gotta check that. Is the music coming through though? I gotta check that. I gotta check one more time really quick. Let's see what happens. I gotta check one more time really quick. Let's see what happens. Yeah, seems like it's working. Yeah, seems like it's working. Definitely is. That's working, that's working. I don't know how good it sounds. I never really set this microphone up. That's working, that's working. I don't know how good it sounds. I never really... But we'll get there. This is more for funsies than it is for anything else, so... This is more for funsies than anything else. Oh, this is like way smaller than it. Way bigger than it needs to be. Oh man. I have not done this in maybe a year? Maybe less? Not sure. But you know, we'll get through it. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure exactly what my hope is, but I do know that I'm here. Not to put too fine a point on it, right? I think the gain on that's just, do we have? We do. It's really loud. I don't know if that's clipping or if it's just, it is what it is. Looks okay. Looks okay for right now, at least. Oh, let's see here. Let's see what that would be. Let me just, I'm gonna do a little thing. Gotta get a good angle. There we go. No, that's not what I wanted. That's terrible and I hate it. I want to make a story, but I want it to be a video, not an audio. Of course. Of course. Hey everybody, for the first time in a long time, I'm going live on my YouTube channel, doing a little planning session, getting together the next couple of sermon series in line, doing a little scripture study and listen to music, whatever else might happen. Come join me. The link is right here on your screen. I'll be on, it's about 10 o'clock now, probably till about noon. So come and join me. See you there. Okay, good. Okay, so now I gotta go here. I gotta open this, and I've gotta somehow share this. How do I do that? How do I do that? Share. Copy link. Okay. I'm so out of practice with this stuff right now. It's so bad. Let's see if that actually works. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I no expectations at all. That's that's a little loud. I can see it being loud. See it being loud. Hey. Still kind of loud. You that far away? It's all right. That's okay. We'll figure it out. I wonder why. So everything else. Filters. Expander at the end. I just got to take that output gain down. I would think. I don't need that much makeup gain. Yeah, it's fine right there. It's perfect. Let's turn you down a little bit more, and we'll see. That should do it. Easy peasy. Or easy peasy-ish. Oh, that's good. That's very exciting email. I'm excited to know that my internet bill will get paid tomorrow. Got the protein shake ready. So, oh, that's awful, and I hate it. There, that should be fine. Right about there should be right. I can see everything. Okay. Okie dokie. Easy peasy, friends. We are. Oh, I could test one more thing. What if we just do and I go here, and I go clicky. Does it work? Hey, everybody! For the first time in a long time, I'm going live on my YouTube channel. Again, I have not gone live or done anything like that in the longest flippin' time. And so I'm still trying to figure out. I'm like, how do you do this again? How do you my bit rate is higher than the recommended bit rate. Okay. Well, outputting at 720p, but it's like wide 720. So you want me to go to 25? No, it looks fine. It looks good. So I'm currently trying to plan out the after Easter sermons plan for the church that I serve, and I have a 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm thinking we'll do it 5 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna take a little break for Mother's Day because we're gonna do one of my favorite things. If folks from the church came and jumped on here, I would never have to do my now traditional post-Easter activity in church, which is to do an Ask the Pastor Anything kind of event at church. Because if they just came here and logged in, this is just bothering me. Let me just little off kilter there. No, and that's way too far. I have ruined everything. Oh, it's okay. Then I wouldn't need to do ask Pastor Josh anything, because they could come here and they could ask. But they don't, or at least they don't yet. So right after Easter, we're gonna do that, and then after that, there's this weird thing that happens because of the calendar. We've got 3 weeks, April 19th to 26th and May 3rd. And we got Mother's Day. And then we've got 2 more weeks of in May 17th and 24th, Memorial Day. I really want to do a message series on the 10 Commandments, because I think that could be fun and interesting post-Easter. And I'm trying to figure out how to divide it up, or maybe it's just something different we do. And so I want it to flow well, and I find it interesting that I'm doing this very publicly, because generally speaking, we don't announce a lot of this stuff in advance. So we'll see if it actually gets me into any trouble. But none of this is set in stone. Some of this is just me going, maybe this might work. Maybe this might be interesting. I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see where it ends up. Where the stream ends up, B, where the planning ends up. Does anybody come and hang out and ask any questions? Does that, does that affect the trajectory of A, the stream, and B, of the planning process? I don't know. I don't have an answer to that right now. I don't have an answer to anything right now, which is kind of nice. Still trying to keep my protein shake from separating. I bought this new kind of protein powder. It's less like the whey protein, that is common. It's peanut butter protein. So it's ground up peanut butter, basically. I mean, ground up peanuts, if I had to guess. I mean, I didn't investigate every single ingredient on the list. And it's got some chocolate mixed in. And I think it tastes like a million times better than most protein drinks that exist, at least that I've had. But it doesn't stay very cohesive. They obviously don't put as many binders in it. So it's just, little particles floating in the water. And it's good. I think it's pretty healthy. It keeps me pretty full, but it's not the most drink-like drink. It's more, all the good stuff is floating around in water, and the more you shake it, the more it feels like a cohesive beverage, and the less you do, the grosser it feels. Now, some might say, well, you should drink it faster, because if you drink it faster, then you don't notice how weird it feels. But when I drink it too fast, it doesn't work very well. Like it doesn't the hunger doesn't stay away for very long. Like, this is my breakfast, and I'm having it very late. I think it very late on purpose, so that I'm having a very late lunch today. I'm expecting dinner to be a little heavy, so light breakfast, light lunch. But I want to make sure that it's not like 11:30 and I'm just ravenous. And so I'm trying to better moderate my calorie intake for the day. Less about, not so that it's more effective, not so that I lose more weight, not so that I'm healthier, but just so like I feel better throughout the course of the day. And I tend to do my least eating kind of at the very beginning of the day. So if I can push my breakfast off a little bit, and I'm usually okay with that, have this around 10 or so, unless I'm exercising. That's a totally different thing. So push this off, then I still have the light lunch. I like dinner. Dinner's my meal. Dinner's my meal that I really want to just cook what I want, eat what I want. Don't have to do quite as much measuring and I can't have that much rice, you know. I'm much more comfortable doing that kind of thing at breakfast and at lunch, but at dinner I don't want to do any of that. I just want to eat what I want to eat. So I'm trying to minimize the earlier parts of my eating to give myself a better shot at success later in the day, so that I can overeat a little bit at night and still be good. So I'm hoping this works. It's not quite the intermittent fasting thing. I take medication in the morning that really wants me to have some kind of food well before noon. But I'm trying not to have like a big breakfast most days, and I'm gonna try to switch to even having an even lighter lunch than I'm used to, so that when dinner rolls around I can just do it. Because I usually go to the gym at night, and I don't want to be hungry. I don't want to feel weak for that. I want to feel good and energized and satisfied, and I don't want to get out of the gym feeling like I got to stop at the parking lot where my gym is so dangerous. Right in front of my gym is both a Taco Bell and a Panda Express. And if I get out of the gym and I didn't have a good enough meal before I got in there, and if I'm still feeling hungry, I don't want to make another one of these. But man, all I can see is that Panda Express and that Taco Bell sitting right there going, you know, some orange chicken or a couple burritos sounds pretty good right now, doesn't it? And all I can do is say, that does sound pretty good right now. So I'm pretty sure, so I know at some point this year, whether I do it right after Easter or not, I know I'm not going to, I'm going to do a series on the 10 Commandments sometime between April and September, October-ish. Like I'm kind of committed to this idea. But how many, I'm not doing 10 weeks. I am not spending a whole week on some of these. It's just no. I don't know. Do I want to do this? Do I want to? I don't think, you know what? I feel bad because like I've been saying this whole time that I think this is what I want to tackle, and I don't know, the more I'm looking at this, I'm just going, I don't think this is the way. I don't think this is gonna be like the first 4 super easy to preach on, and at least the first 3, at least in the Lutheran numbering, like not only are they easy to preach on, but they are like fun to preach on. they give me a real sense that I can do this, like, no problem. The fourth one, honor your parents, easy peasy, not too bad. And then there's some really good stuff on, like, especially thou shalt not kill, or thou shalt not murder, probably a better translation, that I think is really helpful. Adultery, coveting, in our context, those ones are kind of like, okay, yeah. Don't steal, like, great, but not committing adultery, not coveting your neighbor's wife or slaves or animals or anything, whatever. Like, they're just not. They don't fit our vibe very well. They just don't. And so it's not that preaching on them's hard or difficult. It's just, I wonder if it's gonna land. I wonder if people are gonna walk away going, yeah, that was deep. Because I think one of the things that I pride myself in, and that my people look for as much as anything, is what's different about our church, what's different about how we approach some of these instructions compared to some of the more harmful ways that they've been approached by other churches, by other denominations, over history, all that kind of stuff, right? So, and just to be quite frank, like, not committing adultery is not something that I need to explain to them. Not saying they all get it right. I'm sure there are people who struggle with that, and I'm not trying to minimize that. It's important, but, like, I don't know that I could bring anything to the table with that they wouldn't go, yeah, okay. You know what I'm saying? So I'm now, and I'm gonna be honest, this was probably gonna be the first one out the gate after Easter, and it just, I'm looking at it, and the more I'm looking at it, I'm just going, nope, it's not the way. It's not the one. Coming out of Easter, at first I was like, oh, I'm gonna tackle some good issues that people care about. And I'm gonna tackle, stuff that people care about, and that's great because you get a lot of visitors at Easter. And so I thought at first, well, maybe I'm gonna tackle something kind of edgy, or tackle something very applicable to everybody, because the 10 Commandments apply to everybody. As opposed to, oh, I'm going to do a series about parenting. I'm going to do a series about... You never do a series about money right after you have a lot of visitors. That's an awful idea. But charity, giving, that kind of thing, like, that's not going to work. I thought, and so I'm like, oh, the 10 Commandments. Everybody knows at least something about the 10 Commandments. So maybe I'll do something, maybe that'll entice people. But as I'm sitting here, I'm just going, I don't know how many first-time visitors at Easter are gonna give a crap about that. I don't know how many of them will even care even a little bit. Maybe if they're already looking for a church, or if they've just been burned by a church. Oh, that gave me an idea. Not about what I'm doing. There's some churches going through some stuff in our area. And you know what I just realized? I'm only getting microphone out of one side. Advanced audio properties, mono. That's what I need to do. There we go. I just looked at it. I'm like, wait a minute. This is, now does it do it on all of them? It changed it on all of them. Okay, good. I just realized that my microphone was only coming out of one side. An interesting thing about my microphone setup here now, is I have the wireless microphone. It's here attached on my shirt with a magnet, which I think is pretty cool if you ask me. But there's actually two of them. They come in a set, and they both send to the little receiver here. It's attached to my dock. But because there's two of them, it kind of just defaults to one of them's left and one of them's right. And so if I don't remember in the software that I'm using to change that so that it's mono, it always thinks that there's only one. And I'm not wearing two of these at a time. That kind of defeats the purpose. So yeah, anyway. So that's a thing that just happened. But some churches in our area are going through some things, a little bit of controversy, and so that's giving me a few thoughts around Easter and how distinctives. What if immediately following Easter, if we've adequately addressed the fact that I have dropped frames at all on this stream is hilarious to me. I just noticed it. I haven't done a live stream in a bazillion years. And so I just forget how things work, but like, how? I'm not doing anything. It's just me, the camera, a couple little animated bits over on the right side of the screen, and my computer's playing music on a different YouTube account in the background. And like, I've got like a couple windows open. Like, CPU not being taxed. This is an M2 Pro 12 core? Oh, I can never remember. More info. Yeah, this has got 12 performance cores, 4 efficiency cores. It's got 16 gigs of RAM. It's got the 19 core GPU, I mean. I never remember. I think graphics displays. Yeah, this has got the 19 core. Now it's only an M2. I have been really. I love this computer. I love the big screen. I've got the 16-inch. So it dissipates heat really well. I'm like actually feeling it now. I keep it in a metal cage, like brackets that hold it in place underneath my desk. It doesn't heat up very bad. Really great machine. A little heavy. And so when the new M5 Pros and Maxes came out this past week, I'm really torn because I don't need something stronger, but I think I would like something lighter. I think I would. But maybe the 14. I don't want to go to the M5 Air. And it's not because it's not an incredible machine, and that 15 inches is right in that sweet spot. It's right between the two. It's lighter weight but man, the Air's screen, like I don't use my MacBook screen in what you're seeing. This is on a ultra wide monitor, which is why you get an ultra wide stream. I like it that way. Great for phones, not great for other things. I acknowledge that, but if you're watching on a phone, it's like perfect. But when I'm out and about, when I'm working in local coffee shops, which I do at least once a week, usually twice, if I'm working from the office, if I'm doing anything else, like, man, the Pro screen is just so much better. It is so much better. It's not even fair. Honestly, if I could, I would use my iPad's screen, but this is a little too small. This is the best screen I own. This is an M4 iPad Pro 11-inch, even though it's tiny. Best screen. If this was the 13, if I had sprung for the 13 and I bought the keyboard case, I'd probably trade my Mac here for an Air and just use this as my laptop. Not as an Air. I wouldn't trade it for an Air. I would trade it for a Mini. And I'd have a Mini at home, and I'd do everything on my iPad out in public, and you sync it through the cloud and yada yada yada, and that would be it. I would only use my iPad. Like, in hindsight, I wouldn't have done it at the time, because at the time that this came out, it still wasn't quite there for me. But now it's kind of there. I could have an M5 Mini with the Pro chip in it. I don't think they've released that yet. I actually might even just suffer the 11-inch screen. I would trade this in and do that. Share it with my tech guys and my finance people, but all right. So I definitely can't. I definitely don't want to do the 10 Commandments now right after that. But I do have an idea. I think I'm gonna probably zone out here a little bit into 5. Yes, dual output. This person. It is right. It is right. Yeah, it's yeah. I think so. I think I'm onto something here. getting somewhere. Oh, a lot of people have seen it. Nobody's come. Wah. Oh, yeah. Okay, but I think I am onto something here. Oh. Okay. So, oh. Okay. Y'all, that'd be really good. We should do this differently each time. The word does always looks like it's spelled wrong. Duez. What duez? Oh man. Yeah, be careful. I don't want to hit the microphone and get yelled at. It's not any quieter down there than it is up here, so just go. There we go. I'm less likely to touch myself right in the middle of my chest than I am to like touch where my gut is. It's okay, so but still there's how do use some caffeine. I could use some caffeine. I haven't had any yet today. I have had no coffee. What? Okay, so all right, so here's an interesting story. I have managed to come up with what I think is a fantastic Hmm. We've got a problem. So I have got 5 great messages that all align with this message series, I think. One of them is a little wonky, but it works out because it's a holiday. But then we've got Memorial Day weekend. And I'm trying to decide if I want to start a new series Memorial Day weekend, if I want to find one more message to put on Memorial Day weekend to be at the end of that message series. There's 3 weeks after that between Memorial Day and then Father's Day. And Father's Day is going to be its own thing. Father's Day is going to be its own thing. There's only 3 weeks there. I think we need. This is tough because I wanna speak a little bit on. I'm thinking. How many Sundays have I taken off this year? Just completely off. Okay, none. So I could take Memorial Day off, and I could take that one off. I'm taking a week off at the end of June. And still have 2 left for the rest of the year. Awkward stuff here. I'm thinking we do 4 weeks on. This has got to be a Bible-centric something. So we've done 3 straight months of John's Gospel at this point. So it's got to be Old Testament. It's got to be. This is a tough one. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks at a time when we got a lot of extra kids around over these 4 weeks. A lot of extra kids around, especially the last 3 weeks of the 4. Maybe we don't do spiritual practices there. It's lots of kids. Memorial Day weekend's in this. Vacation Bible School's in this. One of our camps, our biggest. Right around here. I don't want to send. I know my team really needs my just right after Easter thing, but I don't want to send this off unfinished. I at least want to get to no, it's not here. All right, let me see if I have it here. Oh, no, that's already on my. No. August? So, so it's the end of August. Yeah, it's not here. Oh, it's gonna be like here. I need to get to the end of July today. That's my goal. All 4-week stuff now. Huh. That's the most awkward time to have paused that for myself. This is a tough one. This is tough, man. This is now my... Okay, I've worked on this at some point. series. I'm trying to look at every series I've done here. And I know it's here and I just don't see it. No, this is not helping. All series ever. This is the document. I've been looking for the same document. All right, so in April 2024, so 2 years ago, almost now, was the first time that I was in charge of planning our message series. My predecessor and lead pastor at the time was still in charge, so he made it up. But starting in April, I started being in charge. So we have done nostalgia culture. We did a couple of break stuff. So we're not doing that this year. Then we did Why Are Christians So ... Then we did the Lord's Prayer. Then we did Stuff the Bible Doesn't Say. Then we talked about transitions and changing. We did Reformation Sunday. We did the Gather, Grow, Go. This is Advent. And we did some stories from Genesis. Then we just did basic favorite. My brain is just not working right now. Jesus' parables. Then we did some generosity last March. I think we got to do generosity here in May. At the end of May. Maybe we just don't do it. What am I talking about? See, but if we do it in May, we'll need to do it again. I think that's just 5 months apart. That's not enough space. We talk it about there, so. Oh, this is the hardest this has ever been. And it's not so much the content. Like, I have a million things that I want to preach on. I have 1,001 things. It's about making them fit. It's about doing them at the right time. It's about acknowledging the calendar. It's about leveraging powerful moments. We've got, right at the beginning of the summer, we have several straight weeks of kid-centric stuff. So What if? Okay. What if we did? They're in that. Start. This is a tough one, guys. This is a tough one. And I gotta tell you, it is tougher. It's time this weekend, am I? This is tough, man. This is really... yeah. Well, it says at some point that happened, but I've never seen it. Might have just been out. Huh. What an interesting situation. I'm not sure. This is tough. I have lots of stuff I want to preach on at times when it's not the right time to preach on it. And all this stuff that I'm coming up with in my head that should work better for those times just makes me go, I'm not feeling it. I don't. I want something edgy but accessible here. I really do. Edgy but accessible, because I'm telling you, I need to get the school starts one needs something. Oh, this one can't be boring. Can't be. Okay, but what if we? I'm trying to think in terms of. People need something that's gonna grab their attention, and when we're talking Memorial Day, the beginning of summer, we've got some extra kids around. We've got our Vacation Bible School. We've got one of our performing arts camps coming for the next 2 weeks after that one. Something that's going to make the parents of those kids go, oh, we're not done yet. There's something happening here that I want to be a part of. And I don't know if that's like a kid-centric thing or a parent-centric thing that we'd want to talk about, or if it's something that's just like, oh my gosh, churches are talking about this, they're doing this? I've never heard that. I might want to be a part of that. Or at the very least, I'm curious about that. I'm curious about what a church might have to say about this thing. And I'm aware that for both of these two camps, we have a much wider, broader demographic than we would normally deal with, than we would normally have, right? And so it presents an interesting conundrum. Do you want to go super wide net, like here's something that could apply to everybody, and then you risk bringing folks in who maybe don't align with your vibe? Or do you want to go a little bit more, no, this place is different, this is special, this is unique, nobody does things like this. So if that piques your interest, if that gives you that, oh, really? kind of vibe, then you're going to want to be here for that. So go more. It's targeted or casting a wide net. If you go too wide, you go too generic, you're not going to do anything interesting enough to make people go. And well, with the message series, maybe it's not about the series, maybe it's about the other stuff we do. It's gotta be hot. Taco Bell just sent me an ad via text message saying I should get Taco Bell for lunch. I'm not going to get Taco Bell for lunch. One, I don't have a car and I'm not paying for delivery fees. And B, one and then B. It's not as good for me as I'd like it to be today. Doesn't align with my goals for the day. What if we? Oh man, this is Yeah, there's something really, it's just, I feel like I'm right on the edge of actually having a good idea, but I can't seem to quite get there. Oh man, but there's just something really struggling with this one. I'm struggling. I am at a loss. Okay, so now I'm trying to think through what my team would be telling me. They don't have a history of participating in this part of the process. Although the series that's coming in April is a direct result of something somebody told me not that long, a couple months ago, like, oh, we should do a series on this. So that's where that comes from. So there is a little bit of that, but I'm trying to think in terms of, is it about casting the wide net to try to grab some folks from our camps and stuff like that, and from our non-church activities, casting the widest net possible, or really narrowing down, focusing down on, there is a subset of this group of people that we can probably connect with better than the rest of them? Do we lean into the distinctives, or do we big tent, wide net, grab as many eyeballs as possible and hope that some of those eyeballs, oh, I want to see more, I want to know more, and then hopefully once they've seen more and known more, once they've spent a little bit more time with us, stick around? And that is really, for the earliest part of summer, the hardest thing, because there's so much going on. There's so many people missing. There is this great opportunity because one of our camps is 2 weeks long. And so the expectation is that the kids are there for the first week and the second week. And you have to, that means that during that weekend, they're not gonna go anywhere. They are gonna be around, at least, so there's one specific weekend, there's a good opportunity there. So whatever I do with that weekend really has to crush it, has to nail it. But the entire time, and I'm always wary of starting a sermon series on a holiday weekend, on a 3-day weekend. Because right now, that's how it's aligning. And I don't know if it's better to do like a one-off message, maybe around some of the central themes of that day. It's Memorial Day. There's a lot of weird Christian nationalism stuff that can come up that day that I neither want to overly endorse, nor do I want to spend the whole time bashing people who interpret things differently than me. That's helpful sometimes, but a lot of times it's not. There's so many choices, and I'm starting to think that during that summer beginning stuff, when we're trying to unapologetically be ourselves and present ourselves to folks who normally don't spend time with us, rather than try to pretend to be something that we're not, rather than trying to be super generic in a way that's just attractional, we say unapologetically, this is who we are, this is what we're about, this is what we care, what we value as a church. And here's a series of messages that just kind of lays out, hey, here's who we are, here's what we care about, this is what we're up to. If that sounds like your vibe, like, we'd love to have you chill with us. If it's not your vibe, then that's fine. There's plenty of great churches around here that may be your vibe a little bit better. So I'm starting to lean that way. I am a little concerned that some of that stuff's gonna come out in the weeks before, based on the series that I've put together for immediately after Easter. So do I move that? Do I just reshift that, reconfigure that? Do I? Man, you know what? If you had told me when I was in seminary and all of that, or even in my first couple years as a pastor where these decisions weren't mine, that I would spend this much time on a Monday morning strategizing. Because again, I can preach on just about anything at just about any time. I can come up with great sermon series, and I think I've come up with some really good ones. I've come up with a couple that are like, it's all right. It's fine. I did not love how the prayer one I did a year and a half ago or so came out. A lot of people really liked it. I didn't love it. It was fine. I thought it was good, but like it didn't make me go, wow, that's okay. Wait, when did we do stuff the Bible doesn't say? When did we actually do that? Because maybe, so we did that August 24. What if we do part 2? What if we do more stuff the Bible doesn't say at some point in here? Oh, it is for me. I think I'm gonna do it in, oh my gosh. Hey, always lean towards owning or accepting stuff that attracts some and not others, but that's okay. I like the part 2 idea. Yeah, I think almost definitely a 2-year break between the first edition of Stuff the Bible Doesn't Say and the next one's probably going to be good. I'm trying to figure out if that's the better gap thing during our camps, or if that would be more fun towards the end of summer. Maybe after Christmas and July comes up again. That's a timing thing. We did it August of 24 last time. So I'm thinking, I don't know if May, June is too early for that, or if we lean more towards the later part of summer. Like right after all the camps are done, all of them are done after Christmas in July. So that's kind of where my head's at now, is like, do I lean in more towards where it slotted in 2 years ago, or do I move it up a little bit? Yeah, that's a tough one. Because I think in a series about stuff the Bible doesn't say, it is very easy to go into distinctives. It's very easy to go into, this is stuff the Bible doesn't say. This is what lots of people say the Bible says that it does say, but we say that it doesn't. And here's a distinctive about how we interpret that. So it can kind of lean into that a little bit. But it also might just be good to leave it on its own. It's tough. Oh man. Normally I just kind of go like, yeah, we'll pick some stuff. It should be pretty cool. It should align with the calendar. I really want to nail this year. I want to make sure that this, we've spent now 2 months exploring a single book of the Bible, and it'll be 3 months when it's done. And that's great. I love it. And I think it's gone really well. It's been really well received. And so I want to follow it up with a couple quick ones in a row that just go, yes, that's more the stuff I'm looking for. Not just looking for, but need. I could preach stuff all day that people want to hear, but it's not a good idea. Because most of what people want to hear is not really sound biblical teaching, and I don't like that. So, oh, stuff the Bible doesn't say part 2 definitely is happening between now and fall. It's just, where does it go? And I'm starting to think it goes. I think it goes Memorial Day to like Father's Day. I really think that's gonna be the way to go. I think that's gonna be the way to go. Okay, yeah, I think, okay. So do we, no. I don't think we can start that Memorial Day weekend though. I don't think that's a great choice. Yes, goes there to there. That's just before VBS. That's just before that. Okay. All right. Let's see here. We're getting somewhere. All right. Okay. Got to make sure we don't. So does Memorial Day 2026 become a one-off message? Or does it finish up the series before? I'm not letting Memorial Day start a new series. That's no. The attendance is way too low. There's way too little engagement there. But there's some cool opportunities there. If we just break here. Oh man. There's so many opportunities here, but now, see, then that screws up what happens after Memorial Day. Oh, okay. If we do 1, 2, 3, 4, then we go 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. All right. I'm changing everything. That's what you gotta do. That's what you gotta do sometimes. stuff part 1. All right. We're going to do 5 more weeks of stuff the Bible doesn't say. And we're going to do it by cutting the previous series a week short. And that way we could start that series the weekend before Memorial Day. We do Memorial Day, and then we've got 3 more weeks of it in the midst of the camps. That could work. And then 5, and then Father's Day is its own thing. And then we do well, do I want to or break here? No, this works. I've got to find the details on most of this, but this is like the big. Gotta be that. That's gotta be that. We can't do that. All right, we're off. We're doing something here. The only problem with this is it means that during those camps, we're talking about something that's already happening. But truthfully, I don't know that it matters if we don't have something brand new and fresh the second they arrive. Hey, we're in the middle of a series on this, and then our next one's about that could work. Okay. That's a toughie. That's a real toughie. All right, but I mean, we're getting somewhere though. Like, this is why we do. Okay. So I'm taking all right, but we're getting somewhere. There's some neat stuff there. Yeah. I wonder. Now the problem I'm having is, so we've had this 3-month kind of spell of just straight. We are going through line by line, more or less, in the Bible. for the last couple months, but these next few ones are much more topical. Now, the Stuff the Bible Doesn't Say one is Bible centric. I mean, it's all Bible centric, but you know what I mean. We're not just like, all right, we're going to go through Romans or Ephesians or John or Genesis or Exodus or whatever. So I think after, I think August gets a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need some playlist. I need something a little bit more. Something with a little bit more oomph to it. I need some more oomph. None of this playlist has oomph. We're gonna do, yeah. Yeah, that's what we need. That's what we need right now. We need got a little bit more bump in it. Got about 35, 40 minutes left before I'm gonna cut this session. It's nothing personal. I love y'all, but I can't. At some point, I have to do things work-wise that I can't broadcast. Because that's the life of a pastor. It's not. There's just certain things we can't. You don't get to see. There's conversations we have. There's work that needs to be done, and it's just not for the public. Nothing personal. Love you, but gonna have to do that. So, we could do. Do I have a button to do that? No, that's the one thing. My old streaming setup had this great pause screen that I could throw up. I don't have that right now. I gotta fix that. Not now, later. All right, so we are getting close to having a concept of a plan when it comes to the next few months. Actually, I've got the big picture framework done from now until the end of July. And that's pretty darn good. But that's the big picture ideas. That is not the individual topics versus stories that we're gonna touch on. So that's okay. I've got a good start on this one. And so I'm encouraged by that. And I'll probably end up doing the detail work on this afternoon off stream. So that's fine. That's fine. I'm not gonna stress too much about that right now. I do wonder. Okay, but oh no, I'm missing something right here. Oh no, this is in June. Yeah. We'll talk about money on July 4th weekend when nobody's here. Everybody loves it when the preacher talks about money. Not true. Nobody loves it. The only people who love it when the preacher talks about money are the people who count the money at churches and who keep track of the finances. That's the only people who like to talk about money at church. They like to hear about it. And even then, they don't love it. They're just like, yeah, I guess we got to do it. One, two, three, four. Nobody likes to talk about money at church. It's an immutable law of the universe. Some pastors do. Some pastors really like talking about money. They see tithing or charity or stewardship as an area of strength for them, and so they get into it, and they like talking to their folks about it, and they like doing it themselves, and all that. And I just know there's a lot of guilt around it. And even if I do my job perfectly, even if I have the most grace-filled message around giving, and it's got no judgment, and it counteracts every awful thing that people have ever been taught about giving, and I just crush it, right? There are still going to be people that walk out there going, I know he said it's okay, but I don't feel okay. I don't feel, I had that one person tell me anything less than 10% is sinful, and I don't believe that personally. I had that one person tell me that I have to give, or there are these consequences, or if I don't give enough, I don't belong at this church, or that, your kids don't need good shoes, you need to give more. You don't need a retirement. If you just invest in this thing, then God will bless you. Like, so many layers upon layers of awful things that people have been taught about giving, that every time I preach about it, I know there's somebody who's just going, I hate this. I hate everything about it. And that doesn't mean they don't need to hear it. That doesn't mean that we can't grow in stages. But I know that there's some just real legitimate trauma, harm, and heartache that comes out of conversations around giving in churches. So here's a great way that I think about it. Doctors promise to do no harm. They take an oath that they don't cause harm. But that doesn't mean that the things that they're gonna do to bring you health are gonna feel good. They're gonna be hard. They're gonna be uncomfortable. Sometimes they're even painful. Sometimes the corrective actions we take as professional leaders of a kind means that I am not out to cause you harm, but what I do might hurt for a bit. And that's okay, and that's good. I think just some pastors, some preachers do it too much. They do it too often. They don't do it with authentic love. They do it with power and dominance in mind. They like to feel like the big man on campus. And that's not to say pastors can't be women, but it's just my experience that tends to be the dudes that do it that way. The wonderful women pastors that I've had in my life tend to be way chiller about those kinds of things. But oh, my email's blowing up. This is exciting. I really like it. Okay, good. Oh, dang. I'm gonna have to read this. Oh my goodness. Thanks. You get the weekly prayer requests, man. It's just some tough ones this week. I'm gonna really take my time with that later. Lots of pastors and preachers and all that, like, they love to to make people squirm, and they make them uncomfortable because it makes them feel big. It makes them feel powerful. I like to make people squirm, but like in good ways. I want people. It's not about being comfortable. It's not about being happy. It's about recognizing that you may have learned some things that are not helpful and they're harmful, but to unlearn those things can be deeply uncomfortable. Nobody wants to hear that their pastor growing up really had an awful understanding of some element of scripture or of the Bible or of something like that. And a lot of times not their fault. It's the way they were taught. It was the denomination. It was the things they learned. It was they were handed something based off of an incomplete knowledge of something, or just, you know, and I know the same is true for me. I don't pretend to have it all right, but I do like to believe that current generations have access to even more knowledge and understanding of scripture, the history, the culture, yada, 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 that we have a more complete view of things than maybe previous generations had. So it's not always their fault, but like, people don't like it when I come along and say, like, I know you may have heard your whole life that, all right, let's make some people mad. That when it says, don't take the Lord's name in vain, that you're not supposed to say, oh my God, when you're mad, or even worse, you know, throw profanity with it. And I'm not suggesting that those are good things to do, but it has nothing to do with the commandment against taking the Lord's name in vain is about at all. It has less than zero to do with that. And yet, that's what our parents taught us. That's what our grandparents taught us. That's what Sunday school taught us. That's where, you know, you go to Catholic school, you know, all of that stuff that they all at one point or another probably taught you, and somebody you love and somebody you care about, that's what that commandment's about. And I say all this because I was thinking about doing a message series on the 10 Commandments. I have used the last hour and a half to talk myself out of it. But so you're getting the mini sermon right now. It has nothing to do with that. And yet, nobody wants to hear that what grandma taught them is wrong. Nobody wants to hear that beloved pastor that I had from the time I was baptized as a baby to the time that I was, baptizing my own children and grandchildren in my 40s and 50s taught me. That they were smart. They loved me. This is what they taught me. And people don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. And so sometimes I still have to do it, but it's like sometimes, and it's not pulling out off a Band-Aid, because I don't necessarily think that I can in one message, whether it's about the 10 Commandments, whether it's about generosity and giving, whether it's about causing harm to our neighbors, to LGBTQIA folks, to people who have committed crimes, or whatever the case may be. I don't think that, especially because I preach for 12-ish minutes each week, that it's going to go from, well, I know you've been hearing for all of your 60-something years of your life that it's one way, and I'm going to, in the next 12 minutes, completely not just blow your mind, but change your mind and undo literal decades of potentially harmful understandings of God. I'm not that arrogant. I'm not that good at what I do. But in acknowledging that, we have to make people uncomfortable enough to be open to change while making them comfortable enough to receive it. Deconstruction's hard, but can lead to such deeper understanding of faith. But it does make people, it does. And I think faith is supposed to make us uncomfortable. I think if we read the Bible and every single time we just kind of go, yeah, no, that's pretty cool. I like it. I vibe with that. That's exactly what I've always thought. If the only thoughts you ever have when you read it are that you already knew that, or that it already aligns with your understanding of it, and if every time you hear a sermon or listen to a podcast or a TikToker who's talking about the scripture, and every single time you read it, you're just like, yep, Cool story, bro. Easy peasy. Something has gone horribly wrong. I would be bored to tears if if every time I open the Bible, I just went, well, I think exactly what I thought about that the last time I read it. All done. Like, no, like that would be stupid. But that doesn't mean anybody wants it. People don't enjoy it. Growth hurts. My littlest guy, we were visiting family last night, and I don't give away names because this is a public forum, anybody could be here. But my littlest was very uncomfortable, and he's been going through this real phase of he won't stop eating. And then he was telling us that his legs hurt yesterday, and it was probably growing pains. Like everything he described, all of his joints felt kind of off. Everywhere he was pointing, everything he was telling us was like, it felt like, it sounded like growing pains to us. And so, if you don't remember growing pains, or if you haven't had kids that have gone through it, like, sucks. Growth hurts. Literally, the action of getting from being a baby to being an adult is not an easy thing. Like, your bones stretching and growing sucks, and it hurts, and it's uncomfortable. Going to the gym and growing muscle, or losing weight, or going back to school, it's hard, it's tough, it's uncomfortable. It makes you question everything about yourself, and yet, like 99 times out of 100, if you do it, you're better off for it. And I think our walk of faith is like that sometimes. I think when we explore and we really open ourselves up to the incredible possibilities of who God is and what God is up to, God's gonna keep doing that to us all the flipping time. And even reading the same books, reading the same stories, you know, you can go back and read those stories that you thought you had down. Those times where you're like, oh, I've read Noah's Ark a million times. No big deal, I got this. And then you read it and you're like, wait, I totally forgot the part where Noah ends up drunk and naked and cursing his kid at the end of it. We skip it. Hey, part of that's because that part gets skipped in a lot of Sunday schools because nobody wants to have to explain, to kindergartners about naked Noah and him having the very first vineyard and really taking advantage of it, because then that brings up lots of really awkward conversations with parents when they come to pick up their kids. But sometimes the stories we think we know will make you go, wait, whoa. And maybe it's because you grabbed a new translation. Maybe it's because you read just a couple more lines than you'd always read. Maybe it's a new translation. Maybe it's a new commentary. Maybe it's just a new life experience. Something has happened in your life personally that suddenly reframes your entire understanding of what you might find in a story like Noah's Ark, or Jesus walking on the water, or I think of, people when you're young, most of us don't have, my phone's ringing. I need to go take care of this real quick. You tell the missus that you're busy, and she just calls anyway. That's fine. Not a big deal. Where was I? Most younger people, not all, but many younger people don't really know what it's like to live with chronic illness. They don't know what it's like to wake up every day and not feel well. And so you'll hear the story of the woman who had been living with a hemorrhage for years. Was it 12 years, I think, in the story? And, you hear this great story. Oh, she wasn't feeling well, and then Jesus healed her because he touched the hem of his garment or whatever. And you just kind of have that moment of like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. But as you get older, and as your health isn't maybe quite what it used to be, or as maybe you get a diagnosis for something that you've been dealing with for a while, your ability to relate with that woman is radically different if you know what it means to live with something incurable and look for hope beyond hope even when it seems like it's gone. Those are very... You can read the same story in the same copy of the Bible that you have, that same one you've had since you were a kid, and you could be trying to retell yourself every time the pastor preached that same sermon on that same message over and over again. And yet when you've finally been living with something like with that for some long amount of time, whether it's a physical ailment, an emotional or a mental ailment, or whether you've just felt spiritually sick for a decade plus, and at some point, a lot of us go through that at one point or another. Sometimes it happens early, sometimes it happens later, but at a certain point, stuff just don't work like it used to. That story changes completely when you can authentically put yourself in that woman's shoes. When you're just like, nope, I have no hope left. There is one shot at this. And man, I need it to work. I need it to work right now because I can't do this anymore. And so it's just incredible how God can speak to us using the exact same basic elements and the same, and then everything can change just because maybe you've changed, maybe you've grown, maybe you've experienced something. You know, all those great wedding stories in the Bible. Nobody cares when you're 12. Nobody cares even when you're 15 or 16. You're like, that's so far off. Changes when you get married. All those stories about how to raise your kids and how important it is for kids to come to Jesus. Until you've got kids, it may not mean as much, or it means just something different. And so that's why you still have to preach the uncomfortable things. You still, because even as I've been saying this, sometimes even the things that you think might bring comfort to one person can make them deeply uncomfortable. And something that you may preach, that you may or teach that you think this might make them a little uncomfortable, might for the first time make somebody in that space go, I never heard it like that before. I never realized that God's story was my story and that God was a part of this even when I said no. Or that God was with me even when every Christian I knew told me that it was no good anymore. And so, you know, talking those uncomfortable things, recognizing, giving people permission to get mad. I think there's some profanity in this song, which is deeply ironic for a preacher to have in the background, but I just listen to the beat, so don't give me too much of a hard time on it if you hear naughty language. It's another thing. Gosh, Christians spend so much mental energy worried about profanity in the English language. It astounds me. If they put half the effort that they put into policing profanity in television, radio, and in their children, they put half that much energy into actually policing like people's actions that cause harm to other folks, actual physical harm. My gosh, would the world be a better place? But okay, I digress. I'm gonna go off the deep end, and so I said I was gonna end at noon, but it's 15 minutes till, and if I don't get up and go use the restroom now, there's gonna be a problem, and I'm not coming back with just a few minutes to solve. So thank you so much to everybody who has joined us today. Thank you so much to people who have joined the chat room. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to try to be active here again, both live and in video content. Really appreciate anybody's input that we've had. I hope you have a blessed day. It's about noon here in Arizona. Go have some lunch, go take care of yourselves, go drink some water, and we'll see you later. Thanks for helping me out with this series planning session. It went great, and I got a lot more done than I probably would have if I didn't have the accountability of the camera and the microphone in front of me. So thank you so much to everybody who joined. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and we will see you in the next one. Take care.